A waiter walks up to an arrogant woman and says, "Madam, here is your food bill." The arrogant woman pays the bill, drops several coins on the floor, and says, "Pick up these coins. This is your tip, and with this tip, you can buy yourself some shoes." The waiter says, "Madam, I don't need your tip." The arrogant woman says, "Poor people like you only work in this expensive restaurant for tips." The waiter says, "Madam, I have to work at this restaurant because I need the job, but I will not pick up these coins. It goes against my self-respect." The arrogant woman says, "How dare you talk back to me? I'll call your owner and get you fired." The waiter says, "If you want to, then call her." Just then, another waiter comes over and says, "Don't you know how respected and important this woman is?" The arrogant woman says, "Thank goodness, at least someone understands me." The waiter tells the girl, "Pick up these coins." The waiter girl says, "I will not do this. I spoke to this woman respectfully, but in return, she is trying to humiliate me." The arrogant woman says, "Fine, then let your owner decide what happens to you." Just then, the restaurant owner comes over and says, "Yes, madam. What seems to be the problem?" The arrogant woman says, "This waiter girl is refusing to obey my order." The owner says to the waiter girl, "You remember the rules of this restaurant, right?" The waiter girl says, "Yes, madam." The owner says, "Then why did you give this woman a reason to complain? Pick up the coins from the floor and leave. I am firing you." The waiter girl starts picking up the coins. Suddenly, an elderly man walks over and says, "I have been watching everything from the side. You people are treating this waiter girl unfairly." The arrogant woman says, "It would be better if you stayed out of our business." The owner fires the girl, and the elderly man says, "You are being unfair. At least you should have listened to the girl's side of the story." The girl walks away feeling worried and upset. The elderly man calls out to her and says, "I saw what happened. You were treated unfairly. Come with me to my restaurant." The girl says, "Thank you, sir, for giving me a job." A few days later, the arrogant woman goes to the elderly man's restaurant. The elderly man calls out from behind her and says, "You cannot enter my restaurant." The arrogant woman says, "What are you talking about? Your restaurant runs because of our money." The elderly man says, "Money is not everything in life. Respect and dignity matter too, and you have neither. I will never tolerate anyone disrespecting my staff in my restaurant. You can leave now." The arrogant woman leaves. Sometime later, the girl and the elderly man become partners in the restaurant. The former owner and her waiter come to them looking for jobs. The elderly man says, "If you had listened to that girl that day, you would not be in this position today. Your job here is to clean our restaurant. If you accept the job, then work, otherwise leave." The woman and her waiter accept the job and begin cleaning the restaurant. Friends, never think of anyone as being less than you. I hope you enjoyed our story. If you did, don't leave without liking, commenting, and subscribing.